Greetings, this is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct today. Apparently we've had a transmission breakdown some kind of way here on Facebook. So if you were trying to watch us on Facebook, I hope you transitioned over to YouTube because you can still catch our live stream there today. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and get this party started. You know what we need you to do, so go ahead and do the needful. Don't make me get real pleadful. If you're watching, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, and then inform your friends, your neighbors, your family, and even your enemies what we're doing here on Black Facts to try to keep our banner unfurled, the Black History banner unfurled, and our flag flying high. Thank you very much. All right, so today we're continuing on with the story of Malcolm X as told by Malcolm in his autobiography. Oh, and here we are with a proverb for today. Proverb for today is, a cat may go to a monastery, but she still remains a cat. A cat may go to a monastery, but she still remains a cat. And that is a proverb from, oh, I bet you it's from Ethiopia. Yep, another Ethiopian proverb. All right. Now, yesterday when we left off with the autobiography, Malcolm had just hooked up with a white woman, young white girl, at Roseland Ballroom. Matter of fact, I think, yep, at the time that he hooked up with her, he had been going out with a girl by the name of Laura. And so he was there with he had a date that he was with, but he dropped her like a hot potato and went for this white girl. Malcolm just couldn't help himself. She made an entree to him, made him an offer the man couldn't refuse, apparently. So, yeah, he went and took Laura home and then doubled back to the Roseland to pick up his new flame, Sophia, or at least that's what he's calling her. For the next several months, Sophia would pick me up downtown, and I'd take her to dances and to the bars around Roxbury. We drove all over in her car, of course. Sometimes it would be nearly daylight when she let me out in front of Ella's. I paraded her. The Negro men loved her, and she just seemed to love all Negroes. 2 or 3 nights a week, we would go out together. Sophia admitted that she also had dates with white fellas. Just for the looks of things, she said. She swore that a white man couldn't interest her. I wondered for a long time, but I never did find out why she approached me so boldly that very first night. I always thought it was because of some earlier experience with another Negro, but I never asked, and she never said. Never ask a woman about other men. Either she'll tell you a lie, and you still won't know, or if she tells you the truth, you might not have wanted to hear it in the first place. Anyway, she seemed entranced with me. I began to see less of Shorty. When I did see him in the gang, he would jibe, man, I had to comb the burrs out of my homeboy's head and now he's got himself a Beacon Hill chick. But truly, because it was known that Shorty had quote unquote schooled me, my having Sophia gave Shorty status. When I introduced her to him, she hugged him like a sister. And it just about finished Shorty off. His best had been white prostitutes and a few of those poor specimens that worked around in the mills and had quote unquote discovered Negroes. It was when I began to be seen around town with Sophia that I really began to mature into some real status in black downtown Roxbury. Up to then, I had been just another among all of the conked and zooted youngsters, but now with the best looking white woman who ever walked in these bars and clubs, and with her giving me the money I spent, too, even the big important black hustlers and smart boys, the club managers, name gamblers, numbers runners, or numbers bankers, and others were clapping me on the back, setting us up to drinks at special tables and calling me Red. Of course, I knew their reason like I knew my own name. What they really wanted was to steal my fine white woman away from me. In the ghetto, as in suburbia, it's the same status struggle to stand out in some envied way from the rest. At 16, I didn't have the money to buy a Cadillac, but she had her own fine, quote-unquote, rubber, as we called a car in those days. And I had her, which was even better. Laura never again came to the drugstore as long as I continued to work there. The next time I saw her, she was a wreck of a woman. Notorious around Black Roxbury, in and out of jail. She had finished high school, but by then she was already going the wrong way. Defying her grandma, she had started going out late and drinking alcohol. This led to dope, and that to selling herself to men. Learning to hate the men who bought her, she also became a lesbian. One of the shames I've carried for years is that I blame myself for all of this. To have treated her as I did for a white woman made it the blow doubly heavy. The only excuse I can offer is that, like so many of my black brothers today, I was just deaf, dumb, and blind. In any case, it wasn't long after I met Sophia that Ella found out about it. And watching from the windows one early morning, she saw me getting out of Sophia's car. Not surprisingly, Ella began treating me like a viper. About then, Shorty's cousin finally moved in with the woman he was so crazy about, and Sophia financed me to take over half of the apartment with Shorty, and I quit the drugstore and soon found a new job. I became a busboy at the Parker House in Boston. I wore a starched white jacket out in the dining room where the waiters would put the customers' dirty plates, and silver on big aluminum trays, which I would take back to the kitchen's dishwashers. A few weeks later, one Sunday morning, I ran into work expecting to get fired. I was so late. But the whole kitchen crew was too excited and upset to even notice. Japanese planes had just bombed a place called Pearl Harbor. Well, I could read more. We got a little bit more time left. However, number one, we didn't broadcast to Facebook. We didn't live stream to Facebook today because of due to technical difficulties. But secondly, that's the end of that chapter. And so I like to make a clean break here because today is a Friday and we're going to have the weekend is coming up. So we're not going to be reading Malcolm X for a couple more days, but we will read him a couple days next week, and then that'll finish off Malcolm X month. So we pretty much have accomplished our goal. We wanted to introduce you to. We wanted to go over the early years of Malcolm's life, from his birth, growing up in the countryside, and then growing up in Mason, Michigan, and then moving to Boston. And we've done all of that because it's a very important to know what those formative years were like. You know, what were those formative years like? And to remember what they were like. Like I told you, I had read this book years ago when I was a youth. But much of what was in the first part of the book, I had forgotten. And probably is the same with the second part of the book. So it's always good to reread a classic book like the autobiography of Malcolm X. Always good to read a classic book like this. Definitely. Or reread a classic book like this. All right. So we're going to go ahead and clock out right about now. You know what we want you to do. Couple of things. Number one, give us a thumbs up. Number two, go ahead and click one of those buttons below. Click one of the links below to become a sustaining member of the Black Facts family. It's easy to do, and it's a necessity right now. You know, on Monday, on Memorial Day weekend, that'll be on the at 8 p.m. Monday night on CNN. They're going to be broadcasting a special production about Tulsa, Oklahoma. We already read about the Tulsa race massacre earlier on in the book Unspeakable. So we've already read that story. You can go back in our on our playlist, Doc Ock at noon and 9, and find where we read this book earlier if you want to just refresh yourself on the story and see some really fine artwork as well. But they're going to be broadcasting that on CNN, and everybody should check that out. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because last evening, Joy Reid on the Readout program she does on MSNBC every night talked about this documentary, this biopic that's coming out that is being produced in part by LeBron James. She talked about it, and she talked about it in the context that right now people would rather, well, not right now, but from ever since, people would rather hear a good lie when it comes to history than to hear the truth. And that's the part that's where we're filling in. We're bringing you the flat out truth, unvarnished, untarnished, bringing it to you as it is, as we get it, as we know it, as opposed to the whitewashed, watered down, stereotypical Negro history that is offered up as Black history in the public schools. So in order to continue to do that, provide that service, we need your support. You can do it on YouTube. Just go below in our description of each of our live streams, and you'll find a link that'll take you directly to our website. You can make a donation there. Donation buttons at the top of the page. You can go to Facebook and you can donate there. Just go to your notifications. Go to Facebook and go to your notifications, and you'll find a notification there where you can make a donation. Or you can also, third option, That's if you're on your phone. If you're on your computer, just go to any of our live streams on Facebook, and there'll be a link right there at the bottom of the live stream in the description area. Okay? So there's a number of ways you can make a donation. We're asking people to make a recurring donation, $5 or more a month. Over 12 months, you won't even know it's gone. In the meanwhile, peace out without a doubt. We'll be black tonight, continuing the story of Betty before X, the story of Dr. Betty Shabazz, otherwise known as Sister Betty, otherwise known as the widow of Malcolm X. So tune in tonight at 9, and we'll make sure to give you another story that's really fine about an intelligent and talented black woman who stood behind her man no matter what. Peace out without a doubt, y'all. Peace with justice, because anything less than that disgusts us.